Wow, this is nice. Oh, you got the bellows and everything.
Oh, yeah.
My God, that's amazing.
I will admit we're cheating, though. We have a little blower, too.
Yeah, wow.
If we had that bellows, we wouldn't cheat.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize, I've never seen anybody working in here before. I didn't even know there was a bellows. That's amazing.
When did you come before? Because
You might have been, we might have just done a quick spin through. I'm not sure.
because usually I'm here
Yeah,
almost every week.
yeah,
And, I always build a fire.
yeah, this is great.
I love the smell.
I know, I do too.
I said to him, every year we come because of the ham sandwiches, the soup, and the smell of the
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Here, I'll burn some.
It's like doesn't it like bubble a little bit when you boil?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to see this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is, anthracite's amazing.
So, there's a piece of anthracite, and I'll show you a piece of. So, the regular coal. Yeah.
What burns hotter, anthracite or this coal?
Probably anthracite, but they both burn hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem at all reaching like 3,000 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Regular coal
Here it says
does
Lynn.
what we call
Yeah.
coking. So it turns to like,
That's awesome.
yeah, this is probably hot, so you can't. I might have someone here. But then, this is steelmaker's coke, and, it's hard.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is.
so coke is to coal what charcoal is to wood. So this piece of charcoal, you can really tell that it was a piece of wood.
Yeah.
So,
Has that
but
wood
Is it
sound.
light?
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
light, yeah.
yeah, coke, so when we burn, like this yellow fire you see, that's the coal coking out. When you look down in there, and that white you see, that's the coke burning.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, I just put some fresh coal on here to coke out. And interestingly, when it heats up, it just breaks into little cubes, which is what I want.
Wow. How long will that burn?
Pretty long.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I had just finished a project. And I put it on the corner of the fire to cool slowly. And people came in and
Yeah.
I'm talking and moving stuff around. So, this is what's left of my project.
Oh, no.
That's metal.
Yep.
Oh, wow. It looked like coal.
Well, so now what is slag then? Like,
Well, slag is, when they make stuff, they put limestone in.
right.
Okay? It's kind of like flux. But slag's really the melted limestone with the impurities that was in the iron ore.
Got it.
So we don't really make slag
Right.
here. Everything we're dealing with is beyond the slag state. Like wrought iron, in the old days, there would be slag in it that they would hammer out.
Okay.
So when they made the wrought iron, they would pull out like a 20-pound ball of white hot iron and slag. And then they would pound it.
Okay, because they were working with ore more than they were with, like, if you're just getting like a railroad tie and working on it, it's not
So-
going to have slag.
Yeah,
Right.
like I say, slag's like a flux. And
Okay.
even when they were, converting cast iron pigs to wrought iron in an open hearth, they would have some slag from, they would add some limestone to it to keep it from all, oxidizing. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to burn the carbon out of the iron because cast iron has like 3 or 4% carbon and wrought iron has no carbon. So they would, they would take chunks of the white hot wrought iron and pound it and keep folding it on itself. So wrought iron has a grain. So if you look at like that horseshoe on the wall, I cut one link off this once to make a project, and I used a hacksaw, and it was so easy to cut because it's
Really?
iron.
Oh,
I was
wow.
gonna say I thought you were gonna say you broke the blade or something because
No.
it just looks so hard.
Iron is tough. Steel is hard.
Okay.
So, you know, when they made things like, where is it? Right here. Not the right handle for it, but that's okay because I only show people. If you look, you can see, like, there's a line there.
Yeah.
And so this is a piece of steel they welded onto the iron body.
Okay.
Because iron's expensive, steel's really expensive.
Okay. Okay.
But also, steel is brittle, iron's tough.
Right.
Iron can take shock, can take a beating. So, yeah, a combination of the two really works well. I mean, you know, the Japanese masters still make some really high-end tools with wrought iron. They get anchor chain, you know, big links, cut that, and make the body of the tool and weld in a little piece of steel for the cutting edge. I mean, and you pay dearly for these tools.
Yeah. Well, that's like those swords they make, right? Like the samurai swords and that.
Yeah, well, the samurai sword's a little different. I don't think there's wrought iron involved. in
Okay,
that.
so
There's
that's
like
all-
different levels of steel. I
Okay.
believe, is the way that works.
And they like layer it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like.
And but I mean, like if you woodwork at all, they have planes, and you don't just grind the blade. You have
Right.
this little special hammer that you tap the wrought iron back away from the steel, and then you polish off.
That's a real
a little
art,
bit.
man. Jeez.
But that way you save your wrought iron,
Yeah.
and you can take it back to the smith and get a new piece of steel welded in. You know, so you never really lose. You just lose the steel.
Right.
You don't lose the wrought iron. Whereas, yeah, here in America, hey,
Right.
we got plenty.
Yeah,
we'll
right.
Just make it all out of steel, and we'll grind it away. We
Yeah.
don't care. And you know, when it's bad, we'll throw it away and get a new one.
That's true. Yeah.
That's how we work.
Never thought of that.
But
That's amazing how much art goes into like just like working with metal and like layering it the right way and doing the right stuff with it.
But in this time period, they would have had a iron body for the plain blade and a little piece of steel welded in still.
Okay.
And yeah, so if you buy an old wooden plane, that's most likely how the iron's constructed.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's great.
And of course nowadays, you want to replace that, you
Yeah.
get a tool steel blade that's really
Yeah.
it's a good blade. I mean, but,
I bought one of those. It's like I think that they were calling them rail-R knives, but there's like it's out of the railroad spike.
Uh-huh.
And the kid that made it was on that show, Forged in Fire or something. He was a local,
Okay.
and he was making them. He was making a killing with them things, but like he was putting his stamp on them and that. Yeah.
Just straighten the end of this up some. My project that I burned up, you know, I'm gonna start it over.
So is that pieces of the metal falling off it, or is that like?
It's scale,
Okay.
it's oxidized metal. I'm going to try back here. Wait till
I
people
know.
are here because it's,
Probably gets pretty.
I'm gonna try and cut that off with the hot chisel.
That probably gets pretty intense.
Well, there's going to be a piece that shoots off the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And, I set someone on fire, they get mad. You know how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can make a nail of it, which I'm not meaning to brag, but I was at a place, Sturgis Ironworks in New Hampshire, I believe it is, and I'm talking. It's a national park. I'm talking to the one guy. I'm there. He had worked there as a high school student and now still work there, you know, as an
Right.
adult with a college degree. Yeah. And I'm there, well, do you blacksmith it always, or, oh, I can make a nail. Like, oh, that's pretty good then.
Some of those nails look pretty fancy, those old square nails. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
he was making pieces to
Yeah.
keep the mill up. I mean, he was definitely skilled.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing, so.
That's
but,
cool.
Yeah, like I say, so now,
So how hot do you need the fire to be before you can work the metal?
well, pretty much the rule of thumb is the metal's only going to get to be the color that the fire is. So I need it to be pretty bright. And, yeah, it's hard to see down in there, but yeah, that's pretty bright in there.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, that's not full heat. If I were to take it, really pump away, I could get it to be where you really wouldn't like to look at it, but we don't need it that hot. That's where you end up burning things up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the other reason you burn things up is you're talking, so. Yeah, a lot of old sayings came out of the blacksmith shop. You gotta strike while the iron's hot. Too many irons in the fire because they do burn up. And then, you know, the one that pertains to me is if you can't work and talk, just work. So, you'll notice sometimes I do shut up. But really, yeah, you did come here to see me work something.
I guess they probably made a lot of horseshoes back in the day too.
Yeah, let's say this is out on the frontier here. Horseshoes are not my big deal. Yeah, there is some of that, but let's face it, the farmer's got a horse, it's standing in the field eating grass, he's not paying for shoes. Yeah, the merchant that's bringing me iron bars, he wants shoes because his horse is doing work or his oxen are doing work, whatever he's using. He probably uses oxen to bring iron over the mountains. I mean, yeah, it's slower, but they carry more. So,
Right.
yeah, he can sell a lot more before he goes back to restock.
Yeah, 'cause
So,
you got a big mountain to pass. You got a lot of mountains to pass to get here.
right, it's
So,
coming from like Philadelphia,
Yeah,
New
you got
Jersey,
the Great
somewhere.
Allegheny Passage.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking there's Forbes Trail, which was like 40, at least part of it. How they came over. But trying to think, I'm guessing Forbes Trail, they came down and then back up, you know, down into Maryland
Yeah.
and back up to,
Well, because yeah, Cumberland would have been